Good evening, everybody. We know that we're welcoming students and parents this evening to our talk to introduce the King Ed's careers team and how we'll support you through your time at King Ed's. We're delighted that we're speaking tonight to you regarding obviously all of the things that you can expect, but we'd like you to ask some questions, and Faye and I will do our best to answer those either during this time or certainly afterwards in more details. We'll give you a contact email address afterwards. So if I can introduce myself first, I'm Lowe Harper and I'm one of the careers advisors here at King Ed's. I've worked here for over 10 years in King Ed's, but in a couple of different guises, and latterly about 7 years as a careers advisor. And I'd also like to welcome online Faye Lowe, my colleague, and I'm sure she'll introduce herself.
Yes, hello. Really nice to see you all virtually joining us tonight. I'm Faye. I'm also one of the careers advisors here at the college alongside Lou. I've been at the college coming up to about 9 years, as the same as Lou, in different various different roles, and in the last sort of 4 or 5 years in the careers team. So it's really great to see so many people joining us who aren't yet at the college but are interested to hear about everything that we can do to support you in careers. So hopefully you'll find this really useful tonight.
Lovely, thanks Faye. As you can see there, that's us in slightly different kind of times. Faye looking as though it's very summery, and Jane and myself looking rather autumnal. Jane is not with us this evening, but she is our careers work experience coordinator and also in charge of UCAS. And for anybody who doesn't know, UCAS is the centralised system for applications to university. So she's a really good person on coordinating all of that. And at the bottom of your screen you should see a picture also of David Handy, who is our careers lead and umbrella person for progression and admissions, and many of you may indeed have met him either at schools in outreach or at various other occasions. So that's who we are. Chris Broughton is an additional person you'll see the name of. We haven't got a picture of him, but he's a very important person too as our careers coordinator in the curriculum, and I'll refer to that in a short while, but he has a role in that. So what are we here to do? Well, we're here to provide all of our students with really good, solid careers advice and guidance. We're actually very privileged that last year we were given some new premises and we moved to Coventry Street, which is just down the side of the college, and we have actually got our own careers hub there where we are housed, and we're able to do our sort of appointments and have visiting people on site. So you'll get familiar with that careers hub if you aren't already on your tour of campus. I'd like to then move on a little bit about us. It's really important, I think, that we get a real idea and sense of our college students. And I'd like just for one moment, if I may, to ask you to open the chat function. I'm going to ask you to do something interactive for students only, if you can. I might refer to parents in a short while, but students, could you just write A in the chat function if you know what you already want, what you want to do when you leave King Edward's, so what your careers aim might be, that's A. And B, if you have no idea at all, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do that, could you put A if you know what you want to do, and B if you have no idea at all. I'm totally reliant upon Faye, because I can't see the chat function, as to kind of what's rolling in. Are students putting those in?
We were struck, yes, absolutely. There were some strong A's coming through quite quickly.
Lovely.
A few B's peppered in there, but actually I think majority A, to be honest with you, that do know what they want to do afterwards. So probably a 70-30 split.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. That's really good that you did that straight away. Thank you. What that just shows you is, though, that the range of students coming to King Ed's on the A-level programme, the 3 A-levels that you'll be doing, some of you will be combining those subjects, knowing absolutely what you want to do. And that's great. And the job that Faye and I and the subject teaching staff in the curriculum and all of us have to do is to get you to your goal. What I would say is, for those students who are coming to King Ed's on a 3 A-level programme for 2 years, who don't know what you want to do, you're absolutely great. We love you because actually you're very open as well to the advice and guidance and opportunities that Faye, myself and everybody at King Ed's can open up for you. So both types of entry into King Ed's are just superb, and I'm sure Faye would agree with me. It's great to have both kind of ideas on board.
Absolutely. And I think just to add to that, yeah, we certainly see a lot of students who don't know what they want to do, and that's absolutely fine. And a lot of students come in with some idea, and actually that can change as you go through your college, through your time at college. So yeah, we welcome sort of, you know, all of the challenges that you guys can throw at us, because that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. So as it says on the slide, but more importantly, we want to get across that message, is that we're here to help students aim aspirationally and reach their full potential. And some of you may come in perhaps with GCSEs where you need some support, and that is available too to help reach that potential. And some of you will be obviously aiming really high, and we have programs across the board to support those students who may need the extra support and those who fly high right from the beginning. We have an inclusive approach to advice and guidance. There may be students who have particular needs, and we'll come on to that in a few moments, where we can also give you some additional support. So what does our offer look like? All students start on a 3 A-level programme, and because we're just A-levels and not vocational courses, it's really great that you can join us on a complete combination, different combination from your friends, from other students who will be alongside in perhaps one of your curriculum areas, but you'll all be on a 3 A-level programme. But what goes alongside that? So we have a real emphasis on work experience. In some of the questions that students have sent in to us in advance, one of the questions was about skills that need to go alongside academic study to reach those sort of career potentials. And we think it's really important at King Ed's that work experience is a really major part of adding to your skills to go into work, and your life skills to communicate and to be responsible when you leave King Ed's. Additionally, we also have some wonderful enrichment, and we'll perhaps mention that in a few moments as well. And enrichment is also a compulsory element of your programme. It's a really important aspect of getting that rounded individual that both employers and universities alike really ask of our young people when they leave college. So that's actually really important. And really looking at the options as you have there in those circles about what you might go on to do after King Ed's, which we talk about, which is quite strange in a way, but you're with us for 2 years. It's not a great deal of time, so we have to pack a lot in, and we give you lots of opportunities to help you make those decisions. So university, of course, is one of those well-trodden paths for King Ed's students, and as you can see there, the stats, so many students progress on to university, a really good percentage of those to some of those high tariff universities, and that's a really important part of our Aspire programme, which we'll mention in a few moments, for those students who are really looking to go into research universities and achieve high in those aspirations. Apprenticeships are a really interesting part of our work, and I don't know, Faye, whether you'd like to just mention a little bit about the work that we do, perhaps on one of our pathways, the Alternatives to Uni pathways, where we talk to students about apprenticeships.
Yes, yeah, it's something we've developed a lot over the last few years, because the demand is increasing for apprenticeships. Students are increasingly look at that as an option. You know, learning as you're earning, not paying for your student sort of fees. All of that is really, really desirable. And so what we do is we have a whole host of different events and support and resource available for those students who are considering that, alongside possibly also considering university. So it doesn't have to be that binary choice of one or the other. And that includes things like assessment centre support, interview support, CV and applications. For those very competitive apprenticeships, we'll put you in touch with Aspire team who deal with the very competitive university applications. And so that can help students prepare for that as well. And so we've really worked hard to try to make sure that we have a good, well-balanced support, not just for university applicants, of which we do have a lot, but for those students who are going onto an apprenticeship as well. And we have, you know, some really wonderful successes. We had a student in the other day who went for an assessment centre at a large accountancy firm and was successful. And it's just really great to see those students going on into a career that they really are committed to do and are sort of enthusiastic about embarking on straight from college. So we'll support students through all of those options, and we'll give you the chance to enrol on our pathways, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a moment.
Thanks, Faye. So, as you can see, relating to some of our alumni, and I'm going to just draw attention, first of all, to that lovely photograph at the bottom. That's an absolutely superb photograph of two of our students who actually left last year and have joined apprenticeships. Luke Smith, who took up an NHS finance apprenticeship, and Aubrey Schwartz at PwC degree apprenticeship. And we actually are delighted that they've both joined us post leaving college to talk to students just like yourselves during their time at King Ed's, and they've been incredibly enthusiastic about the support. I have to say that they've gained both from the careers team but also from the wider college, the teaching staff and others who've supported them in gaining that. And they're just two, and they have a great story. And if you have the time to look on our website, we actually have, under the careers tab, in the student hub area, we have some recordings of our previous events on some of these talks. And I think if you're interested in apprenticeships and knowing a little bit more about their personalities, I think you'd enjoy very much watching that. So I would recommend it. And who else do we have as alumni? Where are they now? Well, we have Ricky Bogle, a consultant, well-renowned Royal Marsden. He appeared on the Channel 4 Super Surgeon, and he was with us just over 12 months ago talking to aspirational medics and other healthcare students who are interested in following professions. And I have to say, I think Faye and I were completely in awe as well, because he was absolutely superb, very unassuming, but absolutely really informative to our students about just having a go. And that's something that I think we really want you to feel, that when you come into King Ed's, we just want you to have a go at things and try things out and explore options. Careers aren't linear. They don't just go in one direction. Careers are what they call squiggly. And the Squiggly Career is actually, I think, the title of somebody's actual book written about careers. They don't just take a linear path. And it's really good to have a go at something. So I'd like you to take a leaf out of their book. And of course, we're very proud about Ben Healy, whose mother actually works in college as well, who was an alumni, who's an internationally successful cyclist. And you can see some of their stories online. So the next slide is a plethora, I think, of activities that the careers team offer. We want you to feel that you're well supported when you come into college to make those best choices. That may be something that you want to go off and do travelling, you want to do volunteering, not necessarily straight into university or into an apprenticeship or employment. And therefore, we've also got information that will support you to look at those options. We use something that I'm going to come on to in a moment called Unifrog, and that gives us a really great platform. Faye was actually giving some really good advice and guidance to ALS team to familiarise them with the Unifrog platform so that they can work closer with students who particularly may have some needs extra to other students. And so lots of our teams are now familiar with the platform that we use particularly. And of course, there are lots of other online resources. We have talks and events for students and parents, and we'll come on to those again in a minute. Using those alumni, particularly who've trodden the path before you, and you know, we're always glad that they come back to us, and sometimes they've done very different things from where they started out, and as I said, actually their journeys are really fascinating. So we invite in October, when you come in as a year 12, we invite you to an HE fair during the day, where we have representatives from universities across the country and HE providers, by the way, of degree apprenticeship providers as well. And then in the evening, on the same evening, which is a wonderful headache for Faye and I, but absolutely delightful for our offer for students and parents, we have a careers fair. And I think last year we had something like 65, 70 employers in the evening. And it was absolutely a real buzz to see so many students and parents asking questions. So those opportunities come round each year, as well as all of the things that we intersperse with lessons and workshops together with those talks as well. So Faye mentioned about pathway, I think, and we talked about the alternatives to uni pathway, so that's for students who may know that they don't particularly want to go to university or explore other options alongside that. And our pathways, as you can see from there, are kind of groupings really of sectors, I think, for students to feel that actually if they're interested in a particular career sector, we can give them some specific support. And as you'll see there, I'm not going to list through them, but just take as an example, perhaps our law and public services. We have some really close connections with Talbot's Law, one of our local companies. I'm just trying to think, Faye, if you can interject there with some of the other companies that we have in the law and public services, maybe as an example.
Absolutely, yeah. George Green, Higgs, we have a taster day, work experience session that we're running in our May Futures Week, which we'll touch on again in a little while about work experience. So a number of different law firms. We also have connections with professional services firms like KPMG, where they will have legal teams within those large companies. And so actually what we try to do is really educate students, not just about those obvious careers, the ones, you know, solicitor, barrister, the sort of ones that everybody's familiar with, but actually all of the different careers that you can embark upon on, let's say, a career in the legal sector, and public services. Also, you know, we'll try and bring in as many different areas as we can in connection with the police, the Ministry of Justice, the CPS, just to give a really broad view of everything that students can get involved with.
Thank you, Faye. In actual fact as well, it brings to mind that one of the questions that we had, I think from a student beforehand, was about careers using history. And I'd just like to use as an example a really interesting conversation that was held with actually the gentleman who came from the army recruitment at our careers fair. And I was talking to him, and he actually said that at graduate level, so obviously after university, there's 3 strands that they take most from, subjects they take most from at graduate level are in history, geography and classical studies. And it was an incredible kind of bit of an epiphany really, that these students who study history, geography, classics, so many of these subjects have really good critical thinking skills, really great sort of minds that are, you know, observing and taking bits of information and using them in a specific way. And it just goes to show that actually some of those humanities as well as those other subjects are really, really useful and great skill providers for a full range of careers. And actually, I think it's very enlightening to come to these careers fairs and talk to some of these exhibitors about the skills that are really respected from some of those humanities, the arts subjects. We were actually on another talk that we gave to a webinar that we gave to students and parents about using some of those business skills as well. And it was very interesting how they're totally respected in business, looking at those interpersonal skills that are gained through the creative arts, communication skills. Apparently in accounting and business, a lot of the calculations that were done previously in roles by obviously individuals will be done perhaps by technology, but what cannot be done is imparting those to other people and deciphering how those are best used in somebody's business and interpreting those results. So actually those what were soft skills are becoming critical skills. That's why the work experience as well as the academic subjects are really, really key to make those connections. So as you can see, a full range of career areas that might be drawn together that can be focused upon in our pathways. But of course, there are many more careers, and we obviously know that the teaching staff will be touching on those as well during lessons. And the careers in the curriculum is a really important aspect. And I'll again talk about that now with the student journey. Faye, I don't know if you want to actually do this one. I think that might be something that you could draw together for us.
Yeah, of course. So here we've got an example of a student who perhaps is aspiring to work in that accounting sort of field, perhaps finance or business or banking. And so what you might find is that you've chosen subjects that fit quite well with that sort of aspiration. So maths, economics, business might be, you know, some of those A levels that a student would choose. But what is really evident from this slide you'll see is the additional things that we really need to, and as Lou has been talking about, go alongside those A-level studies. Those are going to set you up with the academics that you need to go into either an apprenticeship or university, but they're going to provide you with those other additional skills, those skills that Lou was just mentioning, so the analytical skills, the numeracy, communication skills, which is so vital for roles going forward. So they will provide you with those skills as well. And then additionally, you'll be looking at an enrichment. So yes, it is a compulsory part of your programme. You might decide to take on a certificate in financial studies, which will gain you UCAS points as well as help you get to that career as well. You might enrol on our business accounting and finance pathway, which again will just help you, because what we will do for that is support you through that sort of career aim. So it may well be provide you with work experience opportunities, signpost you to taster days at universities that are relevant to that particular pathway. And then addition to that is that employer engagement, which, as we've said all the way through, really is so important. And we spend a lot of time networking with employers to make sure that actually you can have the most up-to-date and useful contacts in those sectors if that's what you want to do. So you can have work experience at perhaps HSBC, KPMG. We've run 2 work experience days with them this academic year. So really great success, really helping them to broaden students' sort of minds about what's out there. And then we'll run also speaker series talks, as Lou mentioned. So we'll get business experts, people from that industry, either on a webinar like this, so you can watch it live, or you can see it recorded. And I've posted the link in the chat for you to have a look at. Or in person, we will bring speakers into college because, you know, it's quite nice to have in-person talks as well. And so, yeah, and this year we're doing quite a lot more trips and visits. So you can see from that student journey that it isn't just about coming to college for your academics, which is really, really important, but it's everything else that goes along with it as well to help you sort of make that really informed and well-reasoned sort of, you know, next step after you leave.
Thanks, Faye. So the university programmes that come up that we obviously promote and encourage students to take part in that widening participation very often. We try to encourage students to engage in taking themselves out of perhaps home and out of college and joining a summer school, or perhaps an online course, something like that. The Aston University Pathways to Professions, UOB, local universities there, but also the Sutton Trust. And we've had students who've gone through this to America on the US programme. We've had a whole range of students, and some of their stories again are online. Those are just a taster for those students who perhaps would like to look at those throughout their time at college. It kind of brings to mind as well that there's a shape to the careers programme that Faye and I devise together with the senior leadership team. It's part of obviously our career strategy to support the learning of students throughout their time at college, and to give that shape and transition at the beginning from school to college, and then as they transition from college onto their next steps. And so the shape of the programme through year 12 and year 13 actually supports that engagement as that grows throughout that time. So these sort of ideas like the summer schools and social mobility, that takes some students through, but our programme is well tailored for the time that you will be at college and the kind of growth that you need to make. And we want students to feel, at this moment in time, you might be sitting behind these screens feeling a little daunted by all this. But I can assure you, it is a well-trodden path through King Ed's. It's actually a really enjoyable part. I think Faye and I would agree that the students that we actually, you know, see most of tend to be the students that really know what they want to do, or the students who actually are not really sure what they want to do. But what we like to do is engage with as many of those students throughout their journey as we possibly can. And that's why the personal tutors and also the curriculum staff are also having that golden thread, as we call it, of careers throughout all of the sessions that they deliver to, so that careers becomes a kind of a lifestyle choice rather than actually just a job role that you're looking at the end of it. So our partners, I think Faye just touched upon a few of those. We work with some local and some national partners, with local representatives. HSBC, Faye mentioned, we have a really good relationship with them. We had the Barclays van on site the other day. We have some of those larger firms like KPMG, who we take students out to. And of course, our Starvale Academy Trust, where any student who expresses an interest in pursuing teaching as a profession can go on work experience and be taken under the wing of our partners in the Starvale Academy Trust. And those are really important partnerships that we have, and we like to expand those. So I would encourage any parents who are online, if you have something that you'd like to additionally add to King Ed's in terms of those sort of networking contacts, we'd be delighted to hear from you. So thank you very much for that. We talked a bit about work experience. We don't have only just that week in Futures Week this year. We do allow students to take time out of college if absolutely necessary, if it can't be organised at any other time. But we do encourage it in our Futures Week this year in May, June time. We'll be looking to roll that out in one guise or another, and watch this space for that for when you come on board in year 12. But all students are required to do work experience for the very important reasons we've stressed throughout this presentation. And you can see also that just an example of some of the work experience workshops that Faye, Jane and myself run to kind of encourage students to look for networking contacts, how to research those things using Unifrog perhaps. And parents have access to Unifrog as well, and that's really important. We give you a log on around this time during year 12 so that parents can help students look at the kind of that platform to help them research things as well for work experience. And you know, we really encourage students to feel inspired about what they want to do and to test those environments out. And as I said, we want students to actually feel that, you know, these are really good life choices. So just actually looking at how we do work experience, you'll get on board with that fairly soon during the early part of year 12. Our annual careers events, we mentioned our higher education fair in October and our futures fair, which is open for parents and students alike. We've said 40 plus employers, but actually we had many more than that this last year, and we will hope to replicate that throughout your time. A sample of other parents and students events there. As Faye said, our evening webinars such as this at 6 till 7 are aimed at both students and parents, very importantly, so we try to give you a bit of time to get online, but we also run some 5 to 6 events which might be more subject specific for students, and of course all of the things that we run during the day with our partner universities, might be from Lincoln University, could be from Edge Hill, could be from Liverpool. All sorts of the university partners come and join us actually on site, but also online as well. And then we have, of course, Ask Apprenticeships and some of our wonderful employer speakers as well. We're also here to help parents guide their students and their children through HE and UCAS, and also understanding that perhaps that apprenticeship approach as well. We've got a QR code there if you'd like to scan it for our webpage, but you can go online onto our careers tab on the website and find most of the information we're talking about there. We're really glad that you've been online this evening. We've been just over half an hour, and I know there were some questions that came through, and we tried to group those together a little bit. And I think I've touched on some of the humanities kind of engagement with those who are looking at coming and studying some of the humanities. And Unifrog as a platform has a huge section on careers using the skills and humanities subjects. So I definitely would encourage you to engage with Unifrog when you come on board with those. And Faye, I don't know if you can perhaps just draw attention to perhaps another group of those questions that were asked.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think a lot of the questions revolved around work experience, because I think that can be a source of a little bit of worry for some students. Particularly because since COVID, there's been a real problem with placements, and a lot of secondary schools are just getting back into actually offering work experience or encouraging students to go out on that. So it's questions around what time of year would we take it in. I think we've addressed that, and how much help we have on offer. We do expect students to find their own placements. However, we do have, as we've mentioned, quite a lot of support around that. So we run, as Lou mentioned, the workshops to help you to try to find it. We have a virtual notice board, which I've put one of them on there, but we have a few more, one dedicated just to work experience. And so we do signpost a lot of placements from the work that we have ongoing with employers. So we try to help students as much as we possibly can. And I think that hopefully that has clarified any questions or queries that students have. But please feel free to put any more in the chat about that. There was also quite a few questions around apprenticeships, Lou, and I think we've probably covered, I think, the vast majority of those, to be honest with you. So, and some questions about one-to-ones, and as Lou mentioned, it is quite a large part of our role is to have one-to-ones with our students. Is there anything that you wanted to mention in addition to that, Lou?
Yeah, thank you. I think just to say as well that as a college, we're really proud of our achievement against the Gatsby benchmarks, which are what the government sets as really the kind of gold standard for careers provision. And the one-to-ones that Faye and I, who we are both level 6 careers advisors, so even at the ripe old age of 59, you can retrain and qualify and get those qualifications, which are actually really important to deliver a really good standard of that careers advice and guidance. And Faye and I spend a lot of time, as she mentioned, keeping up to date with local market information, trends on employment, understanding the changes in some of the really key areas for not just universities and apprenticeships, but I think, you know, on the way in which technology is affecting some of those traditional job roles and what the job market might look like for students who are coming on board now as well as in the future. So you hopefully are getting a really first-rate careers service. We take very seriously our feedback from both our internal best critics, you know, within the college, but also from our students and from parents and providers of our speaker series, etc. And actually, student voice is really important to us. And so just like asking you to enter that, as I did at the beginning in the chat, this is a two-way process, and I think Faye and I would agree that we learn a lot from students and we gain a lot of feedback on what support students need. And so the careers@keds.ac.uk, which you can see on the bottom of that, is somewhere where you can always contact us, and so can parents. And we have our own YouTube careers channel where we also post a lot of our materials. We kind of have got really much better at our I think our socials, as they call them, Instagram, and I'm really prolific on LinkedIn, so you can join us on there as well. But those questions that came rolling in, we want those to keep rolling in during the 2 years you're with us. We want inquiring minds, we want those students who ask questions, but for those who need the extra support to bring that out, we have other ways of doing that through, as I said, the learning support as well. But those one-to-ones I think are really critical to give that individual advice.
That's great, thank you, Lou. And somebody else asked, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with those, what they used to term soft skills and really aren't their vital skills at these days. It was a sort of a three-pronged sort of question, but it was what kind of interpersonal skills do we need within any profession, and how do you develop them? You know, tips on networking and process for apprenticeships, and is there help with interview skills and those types of things. And I think we have spoken about that in you know, it's about developing those skills as we go and exposing ourselves to those experiences which help develop those skills. Is there anything in particular? I know that when we've been at talks, I think, you know, that emotional intelligence, that ability to work in a group and be able to communicate really well, really comes through from employers, doesn't it? Is there anything else you think, Lou?
No, but I think the assessment centres and things as well that you know, we are able to prep students really well for, and not just for apprenticeships, they are for the life skills. And I think we would like to encourage more students to gain those life skills, not just through you know, the work experience and from perhaps the alternatives to uni pathway, but also in their interactions with their curriculum staff and others throughout the enrichment programme, and putting themselves forward and gaining those, and any additional skills are really respected by, you know, in the future. And I think the difference between perhaps staying in a sixth form at school and coming along to college is perhaps, you know, as I say, it can be quite daunting for some students with gaining that freedom, but actually what it also gives you is the opportunity to gain some of those life skills and perhaps have a different attitude when you go out, of feeling a little more confident, you know, to gain those opportunities further on, where you've already experienced perhaps some of those intermediary opportunities at King Ed's.
That's so good. And just moving on a little bit, so I'm conscious I don't want to take too much time up for people, but there's a few questions, pre-questions, and one that's been put in the chat around medical healthcare roles. And we know that that again is a source of sort of interest for our students. We have a lot of students wanting to go into healthcare professions. And just to sort of clarify, we do have a medical and healthcare pathway. So through that, we'll provide you with work experience placement, signposting. We will help you. The question in the chat is if it's medical experience, you know, is that done during in sort of college time or outside of college time? We recommend quite a number of different placements. One of them is with Russell Sore Hospital. That's usually done in the summer. And if it is in college time, we will allow students time off to do that. It's very, very popular. We also have, as part of our Aspire team, medicine, dentistry and veterinary support with early applicants. So they will put students through everything they need to know about making that application to university for those early entry, very highly competitive courses. So there's a lot of information and support available. We also do things like the UCAT enrichment group. It used to be BMAT as well, but BMAT is being discontinued. One of the questions was about those, and I'm going to put a few links in the chat in a moment when Lou starts talking, just to help students with those. But there is a number of sort of different ways that we can support students here. Is there anything that I've missed out there, Lou?
No, but I think there are some very specific questions that people have asked actually about perhaps studying medicine and dentistry. And if you'd like to email those, if we haven't covered them, to the Careers Act, we'd be very happy to answer those specific questions. I'm afraid we don't know who they've actually come from individually, but we'd be very happy to do that. And I think you've touched upon probably most of those. There were a couple of law questions as well, and I think one relating to America and transitioning from UK to the legal system in the US. So again, if you'd like to put that in careers, we'd be very happy to answer that. But certainly, I think we try to cover as many of the aspirations that students have, but we also want to open minds to new opportunities. And yesterday, Faye and I were at Worcester University with a couple of other members of our team, and we were exploring the forensic and biological sciences new courses. We were looking at a number of other aspects of the local universities through BCU and other partner universities, and of course those further afield. And we have, as I said, representatives from a really wide range of university who can actually help you both with that and with the student finance, which of course is really, really important. We actually have a really good connection with Amar Eason, who is from the Student Loan Company, who will be able to help any students aspiring to go to university who may have particular difficulties with visas, etc. So we're well connected to help students who may find those individual needs. And
Lou, just to add to that, one of the questions was around student loans and student finance. And specifically with regards to perhaps not being able to take out the student loan for various different reasons. We do, as Lou said, we have really good connections with the Student Loan Company. So any specific queries like that, what we can do when you're part of the college and we're helping you with your UCAS form, we can really assist you when it comes to student finance. We can start to look if there are any particular queries or concerns that you have. We can start to look at those and look at other alternative options that might be available for you. So sort of rest assured really that we really do understand that it can be a source of concern, and it's something that we'll support students through. Every year we run a webinar on student finance for parents and students, and we've got a representative from the student loan company coming to that this year to sort of give some of those answers to some of those specific queries. So please do feel assured that, you know, things are there for students to support you through. Lou, just one question as well has come in. I was wondering how much help you offer students wanting to do law, careers in the legal field, and specifically degree apprenticeships. I think we were chatting, as we were mentioning earlier, we have the law pathway. Yeah, we take students out to taster days at law firms. It's difficult to get work experience in person in a law firm, I think it's fair to say, because of being under 18. But yes, we do support students, and we really very much encourage students to have that open mind when it comes to university and apprenticeships for law, because you do have both sort of routes available. So yeah, absolutely, there's a lot of support there available as well.
And of course, law is one of those actual professions that you don't have to go to university to do law to go on. So you cannot go on to a conversion course. So there are things that Faye and I can certainly put any student kind of mind at rest about different routes. I'm going to draw this to a close in a moment. I'm aware of the time.
Yeah, one more question, Lou. Do you mind?
Yeah,
students just put in, can you help students to prepare for interviews or exams to enter into universities? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's something that
our team, yeah, they do. And so yeah, Lou, sorry, you were going to say.
I was going to say it's something that myself, I'm very familiar, having worked, as Faye and I both have done, in commercial settings as well as in education. So it's something that we're able to talk to students about as generalists, and then our Aspire team certainly have that level of expertise to get those degree apprenticeships and higher aspirational. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And as Lou mentioned, there were some very specific questions about perhaps moving to America to study law, some others to do with studying dentistry, it's very, you know, and how competitive it is. Please do email us at the careers at keds.ac.uk email address, and we will certainly give you any additional information that you need, because we're always more than happy. I am going to, as we finish the meeting, spam it with lots and lots of links, so you'll be able to have access to this as well afterwards. So please do look at some of those that I send through, and hopefully that'll answer some of your queries.
Thank you, Faye. I hope that we've covered pretty much everything. It's probably been quite a lot, but we just want students to come along to the college with open minds, with real enthusiasm, to get involved in engaging in careers. It is that wider approach to a future and life choice, as well as just a job role. And Faye and I really look forward to engaging with all of the students and parents alike, and we hope that you found this really informative for the first step to looking forward to joining us here at King Edward's. Thank you very much indeed for attending. We look forward very much to welcoming you through the doors fairly soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.